too, cousin. Well, you can, but.
Everyone out to the, woo,
We're live.
all right. Welcome everyone out to the Morgan County Council meeting for October 3rd, 2022. If you'll all stand, Chip Keller's going to lead us in the pledge, and Vicki Kivett will lead us in prayer.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the opportunity to meet here in this public meeting that we do get to reside in a free country. And dear Lord, we just pray that you be with the people of Florida that were affected by Hurricane Ian. Many people are still unheard of from. We just pray that wherever they may be, that they're safe and their needs are being met. We just pray for all those who were involved in recovery and that are working, I'm sure, many, many, many hours a day, trying to restore power and get things repaired and the water problems. We just pray that you be with them, dear Lord. We pray for those others who need help, who need healing, who need comfort. Dear Lord, please provide the answers to their problems. Be with them and fulfill their needs. Dear Lord, we do thank you for our public safety people. Thank you for that they've given that as their career, that they're very dedicated. Please see that they get the training and the mindset, mental health that they need to carry forth in those jobs. Dear Lord, we just thank you for this fall season. We pray that you be with the farmers who are feeding the world. And dear Lord, we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Records show that all council members are in attendance this evening. And we will start the agenda with some additional appropriations. Looks like the first one is going to come from our county coroner. Hey, Mike.
Good evening, Kath. How are y'all doing?
We're good, thank you.
I got some things to hand out to you to go and coincide with my request for additional appropriation.
Tip your mic down a little bit.
Tip that down when you can, yeah, can hear you very well. Thank you.
We love numbers.
Good to see you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Didn't know people to die from it. I mean,
I
people.
no longer have my copy to read from, but as you can tell, that thought I had enough. As you can tell, the third quarter, we had 48 calls or coroner calls. Of those, 12 were overdoses, 6 were suicides, 1 motor vehicle fatality, 1 drowning, 1 huffing incident, and 26 medical calls, and there's 1 outstanding right now we haven't received the autopsy or toxicology on. The additional appropriation is because with these numbers, based on that, I think I said last month, we had 121 total calls last year. We surpassed that in September, and we got 3 more months to go. And it's a necessity. More people are dying, not less. And
Oh, scared me.
I just had to come before you to ask you for additional appropriation for autopsies and everything. And I have one other thing that I was going to demonstrate to you and coincide with this, if I could, if you don't mind. Everybody okay with that? Mm-hmm. Okay. Shh. I did this for the commissioners. get one bag of Splenda. And I know it's Splenda because I purchased it with mine.
You want it back?
You can get it back, whatever you'd like to do.
Thank you.
And, would anyone else care for a Splenda package? Okay, now, if you look on the back of that, in the fine print, it says this is 1 gram of product, okay? Inside this is a powder we use for sweetener every day. I bring this as a demonstration because a package this size, this amount of powder in the form of fentanyl will kill everyone in this room. As a matter of fact, it would kill 250 grown men. Here's the other half of the demonstration. 2 packets of this, and I saw this from a congressman, United States congressman. 2 packages of this material, if it was fentanyl, will kill every member of Congress. This is why our death rates are going up. Because as you notice, we had 12 overdoses in just 3 months. We're at 19 for the year, I believe it is, or I believe that's what it is. We're at 124 deaths so far this year, incorporating, all facets, whether it be natural, homicide, suicide. And that's why I'm here to get the additional appropriation.
We're hearing numbers that are just unbelievable with the fentanyl across the nation. And
I'm
You're
tired
seeing
of,
it
I
right
want
here.
to see, I want to do something about it. And
Yeah.
God's helping me. I thank God that he called me to this because it's what he called me to do. I'll shut up now.
yeah, we're sorry you're having to have so many more, Mike. But our request before us tonight is an additional appropriation by the county coroner in the amount of $50,000 for additional autopsies and toxicology reports. And hopefully this will get you through the remainder of the
Yes.
year.
Yes.
Why don't you, just to clarify the issue with autopsies that are required, if you want to elaborate on that a little bit, that it's required if there is a overdose, correct?
If there is an overdose, we have to determine what caused their death because it could be a person that's in their 40s that have had chronic hypertension, chronic problems with methamphetamine use, which destroys the insides of their heart, their arteries, and everything else, and determine was it an overdose, or was it secondary to an overdose because their heart gave out, or was it an aortic aneurysm? And that's why I am not a physician. I'm not a doctor. I can't look at somebody and say, well, I know why they died. Their heart quit. But why did that happen? And so that's the purpose of autopsy and toxicology. Autopsy, we pretty much know preliminarily what killed them as soon as the autopsy is finished. The toxicology blood report, though, takes anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks. The Indiana Department of Health pays for that. We don't. We don't pay for that blood work they do for a drug overdose. We do, however, pay for any toxicology that's done over and above not suspecting overdose.
Well, because I've had people ask me, why are we doing autopsies when we know it was an overdose, that we're not wasting
We have
money,
to know
but
what
I've
it was.
explained that it's required, that we're required to do that, so. I
We have
just
to
wanna
know
be-
if it was it fentanyl, heroin, was it methamphetamine, whatever, cocaine, whatever it might be.
Right. Any other questions for Mike this evening?
What difference would that make? What type of drug?
Well, the drugs that we're noticing a trend and everything is being laced with fentanyl now. And people will say, well, they were prone to heroin. They were prone to methamphetamine. They were prone to cocaine. And they're like, well, why did they die now? Why did they die now? The dynamic of this is that some people go into rehab, they get clean, and they were used to heroin. They've been in rehab for 6 months. Your body builds up enzymes in order to break down those things that you intake into your body, whether it be food products, pharmaceuticals, whatever it might be. And then you filter it through your kidneys or your liver or both. If a person comes out of rehab, they're clean, their enzyme levels have gone down. So they get out, they've been out for 2 or 3 days, they start to miss it, they have a weak moment, whatever it might be. And they go out and get some product and go out and get high. But they go with the same amount that they did before rehab. And they're generally dead within 30 seconds. And if it's laced with fentanyl, it's even worse.
But they're-
People they don't know what they're getting.
Right.
And that's
what's
the
scary.
sad part.
Yeah, and they're mixing the fentanyl in to make the
Correct.
product. stronger.
And I need to be able to document from what the forensic pathologist says through toxicology and his examination of the tissues in the body. I have to make sure that that gets put on that death certificate and certify that. And that's why we have to do autopsies and toxicology. I don't guess.
Thank you.
Yes, and we appreciate you. So, any other questions? If not, I look for a motion.
Vicki Kivett makes a motion that we appropriate the $50,000 into autopsy and toxicology out of the general fund.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Troy Sprinkle, second.
Vicki and Troy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you. One thing I did go over was the minutes. Did everyone have a chance to review the minutes for August 15th, or, I'm sorry, 1st, 15th, and 16th? Were there any questions, changes, anything we need to be aware of? I look for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Troy Sprinkle, make the motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Thank you, Troy.
Melissa Green will second that.
Melissa, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0 to approve the minutes. All right, our next up is our county commissioners for an additional appropriation for professional services. Josh, you going to present that to us?
Good evening, council. Hope you all are doing well tonight. This request is nothing new. I think we've talked about this a lot since budget time. The commissioners came with a line item request for next year for PR services, and there's been a lot of discussion that there's just a lot of things happening at the county right now, from our bot to ARPA, which is the next request we're going to talk about, to the log cabin we found. There's a need to tell our story. There's a need to let the community know what's going on. It represents us. It represents you all. And it was asked by us, if you all, to go ahead and get that engaged for the remainder of this year at budget time. So that's what we're doing now, is we're coming back before you. We're asking for an additional of $25,000 so we can get the ball rolling with this.
Okay. And it looks like we have the opportunity to take that either from rainy day, riverboat, or ARPA funds. Is that correct? No?
Not ARPA, general.
General or rainy day.
Right. General
Okay,
rainy
I
day and
apologize. I looked at it wrong. Do we have questions on this?
Do you already have, do you know who you would like to contract?
Yeah, we've interviewed somebody, but we still need to put a full RFQ out on the street. We want to see if there's other people that, aren't just as well qualified or would be a better fit. But we've at least interviewed somebody in the industry to make sure that we're on target with what an RFQ should include and what kind of services we think we would need.
You think it'll just be one person?
It's possible that it would be a firm with a couple people, but we're not looking to have a firm with a lot of overhead, so it's not going to be a giant firm out of Indianapolis. I can't imagine it's going to be more than a couple people.
It'll be like contractual though, right?
Yeah, not employees by any means.
So when you anticipated 50,000 for next year, but you're asking 25 for 1 quarter, what's the thinking in that?
If it takes a lot of extra to get us onboarded here at the start, we took a stab at it. I mean,
Okay.
certainly it could be less than that.
Could be less.
And then how soon do you see us getting this person engaged to do the job, like ASAP?
As quickly as we can, yeah.
So you haven't gotten any figures yet of what you anticipate that cost to be?
It's
Because
gonna be-
25 does seem a little high for just basically 2 more months.
Yeah, typically, when we talked with the person that we have interviewed so far, they said a lot of times you can do hourly, but more often than not, you're going to start looking at project sizes. And so we're going to say, here's the things that we want to communicate over the next year, and then they're going to give us a proposal for those costs. So we hope that 25 is too much. We hope 50 is too much. But one of the things that we've realized as we started talking through this is there's just a lot of things happening, and we anticipate wherever we start, we're going to have more things that we want to communicate as the year goes on. We expect that scope to increase.
Okay. Any further questions or thoughts?
Kelly O'Connell will make a motion to approve $25,000 out of the Riverboat Revenue Sharing Fund.
We have a, Thank you, Chip. We have a motion by Kelly Acala, a second by Chip Keller. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries 7-0 to be funded out of the Riverboat Revenue Sharing Fund.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can take the next one, too.
Okay, you're next up on that one, too. Oh, that one's a little bigger number.
It is, but it doesn't need to be that big. So you guys have appointed Kelly, she's on the ARPA committee with 6 other people. And one of the recommendations that came out of, was it our first meeting, Kelly?
First meeting.
We explained some of the projects we're interested in, and we explained the water study, which, you know, Commissioner Collier and I started talking with the firm last year. And this is a study that will help us to quantify the aquifer within the county, and then protect that aquifer as well as be able to commoditize it. We think this is a really important project for us, so the committee said we are completely for protecting our natural resources, especially if we can figure out how to monetize it. You know, if the commissioners are for it, go ahead and present it. So we came before you all. There was an advertising issue, so we didn't get to do it at your budget hearings. But since then, we have gotten the proposal in, updated from last year. It's 1.2 million. It's a little over. It's 1.26 million. I'm recommending, since this is ARPA funds, in case, you know, we add a service here or there, we go ahead and make it 1.3, but it does not need to be 1.7.
Okay.
And these are funds dedicated for, you know, projects that move the needle like this.
Yes, and did anyone have
Yeah,
questions? on
So this type of study, what's it trying to help us prevent from happening, or like, what's an example of what?
Great question. So the IFA did a study of the 9 donut counties, including Marion County, and they did it at a macro level through the economic, through IFA. And so they were trying to figure out where do we have water issues, where do we have good water, and up towards Boone County, their aquifer is already starting to go dry in areas. They're having an issue producing enough water. So that's obviously downstream is an economic issue, pun intended. And so the IFA actually reached out to us and said, hey, you guys have a really tremendous aquifer. Here's the firm we use. We really think you should do an in-depth study on it. By the way, we'll kick in money to help pay for, the state will, through various agencies, to help pay for testing, because we want to figure out what's our water quality, what's our volume of water, how much can our aquifer produce, what's the replenishment rate, and how do we keep people from taking our water. It's already being piped out from a couple different utilities, and legally we found out we can't protect what we can't quantify. And so this is the first step in that process, is to be able to protect our water. Does that answer your question, Joe?
No, that makes sense. I mean, obviously, I've read stories of what they're going through out west in Arizona and California and Colorado, so we're nowhere near that, but it's the same type of issue you're talking about.
Yeah, and
water is a resource and a valuable one.
Exactly, and it's not that far away from us that people are already having some issues with it.
So when you say protection, this is just for companies taking it out of the ground or other people tapping into it?
Yeah.
That's close to it, that's all.
That's the big driving. We don't want, for example, some industry could come in here that just sucks up gobs and gobs of water. We may not be able to do anything about it, and now that's going to affect our entire community. So those are the types of things we're trying to put in place protection-wise. It's a long process. I mean, don't expect that this happens overnight.
Well, and I don't know with the carbon sequestration going on where they're gonna pump that down in the ground, if that would have anything to do with that or not.
I don't know the answer to that.
I had trouble.
We as a county, if a company wanted to come in, and I know this is happening in a surrounding county, they're taking 5,000 gallons of water out off a parcel of land to bottle and sell. What could we as a county do to keep that from happening?
Well, so we will be doing this in conjunction with legal, and that's one of the things, Taft Laws, who's helping us on that side, and we're having a joint meeting with the Water Study Committee team as well as legal, because before we ink any documents, we told them we want to make sure that we've encompassed everything in this study that at the end of the project helps us to legally protect all those different types of circumstances. And so I can't answer all your questions today, but at the end of the process, that's what we're working towards.
To answer your question, right now, we could do nothing.
Right.
And we were basically told until we quantify it and figure out the replenish rates, how quick our water table replenishes itself, we are very somebody coming from anywhere else, digging in our backyards and taking our gold. And the water is becoming a precious commodity. And the other communities that are having this great big growth, just north, just east, they're running out of water, so they're coming to Morgan County and taking our water, and there's nothing we can do. Now, we've been told once we quantify it, we can protect ourselves, but at this point, we can do nothing.
Josh, did they describe what $1.3 million gets us? Are they drilling? Are they?
Yeah,
what-
there's
how
going
are
to
they
be
studying?
test wells all across the county in areas where they want to test the water.
Okay, so for example.
I
they
think
come-
48 wells.
Okay,
How many?
If I'm, from memory, I think it's 48.
that they're going to drill.
And put sensors in, and we'll have 3D models of exactly what's going on with the water table. I mean, it's a lot of information, and that will be monitored for 3 years.
3 years.
And we'll know when Jason waters his crops.
That was gonna be my next question. You start talking about putting wells, are these going on private property?
Yeah, they'll coordinate. I mean, if we find favorable locations, sure. It could be on public lands too. I mean, those will be the logistics that we have to work through.
So you're saying right now there are industries or folks outside of this county using our county's, like, water supply?
For example, Burgersville Water, they pipe from us. They essentially put a big straw into our county and said, we're going to take this over here.
And we will grow. And their county will grow. So has the ARPA, Kelly, has the ARPA board met?
Yes,
And
this was at our
this
first
is your
meeting, and
recommendation?
The entire committee was 100% behind it, like we made Josh go to his office and bring us the studies, so we get the proposal, so we could look at it. And everyone immediately thinks, I mean, we need to protect
It's a
Morgan
good
County
use.
resources.
Good use of the funds.
Yeah. It's excellent use of the funds that the federal government is giving us, that we would not have a way or be able to fund it with our own county funds, from our current county tax dollars. So, any more questions? I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that we approve 1.3 million out of the ARPA fund for this proposal for the aquifer study.
Jason Maxwell seconds.
We have a motion by Kelly Acala, second by Jason Maxwell. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Josh. Okay. ARPA health issues? Is this Jeannie?
Yeah.
Jeannie, you want to come up and go over your additional appropriation for AR issues?
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
This is my replacement, Cindy
Welcome
Wells.
aboard.
So I promised you.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Cindy Wells.
Cindy Wells?
Yes.
Nice to meet you, Cindy.
Tip your mic down, ladies.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
You want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Cindy Wells?
I'm sorry.
I said you want to tell us a little bit about yourself. I've met you twice this past week.
Yes, you have. I was born and raised here in Martinsville, out on Egbert Road, on a small farm. All my relatives lived up that same road, so.
Are you in Ennis?
I'm sorry? Am I in
Cragen or
Ennis?
in Ennis?
No, Wells, yeah.
Okay.
But yes, I know most of
Okay.
the Cragans and Ennises as well, yes.
Well, we welcome you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, we aren't here for this purpose, but the deaths that Mr. Ellis spoke about earlier, just FYI, the health department deals with every one of those that come through with death certificates, so that keeps us busy too. But, okay, so we're here tonight to ask you to appropriate this $19,582. It's for a lead program that the state has a grant for, the nurses applied, and were approved for the funds, and so we're asking you to appropriate those funds this
Okay.
evening.
So it's not an additional appropriation. You've received the grant, and you just want approval to appropriate as
That's correct,
presented.
yes.
So everyone got a copy of Jeannie's letter on how they want to appropriate those funds?
It is under additional appropriation. So Dan, is this an additional? Well. But it's through,
anytime you're appropriating money during the year.
Right.
It's labeled additional appropriation, but this is one of the grant funds that requires the county council to appropriate the money.
Okay.
I was just making sure it wasn't something that we had, like a match type grant, that we had to match it for that amount. This is the full grant amount
This is
that
the
you're just
full
needing
grant
appropriate.
amount, right.
Great. I just
And it
wanted,
is for a 2-year period. I
Okay.
don't know if I noted that on here. I did on the, we went to the commissioners this morning, and they I believe, approved it, and it is for a 2-year period.
okay. Well, good job seeking out those grants and getting those in the coffers there. Any questions or comments in regard to this?
Chip Keller will make a motion to approve $19,582 for the health department to use this grant money.
Melissa Green will second that.
Thank you. We have a motion by Chip Keller, second by Melissa Green. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
All right. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Looks like we have a request for plat book fund. Who was,
Yeah, this is connected to the project that we've got going on with the scanning of the transfer books and transfer cards. This is the second part of that, where the documents will be available online in the cloud and the portal for this document retrieval and management system. The transfer books or property transfer records will be the first part. As time goes on, if the auditor or other offices want to put other documents out there for the public to be able to have access to and view, then they can be added and part of this management. The fee is for $250 a month, and that's where we get to the $1,000 for 4 months. And then in the budget for 2023, this is included in the budget for 2023.
for the full year?
For the full year.
Okay.
That's going to be an ongoing fee.
It'll be an ongoing $250 a month fee that we can pay for out of the plat book fund. We won't need the plat book fund any longer to maintain the upkeep of the plat books, because they're being those records are being digitized and will be then accessed through this system.
Dan, is there another county that's already got this system up and running?
White County is one that's using it. They're one that uses it quite a bit. There's some others, Chip, but I can't remember, but White County, I talked to about this company this year, earlier in the year, and they highly recommended them, and it's worked really well for them, and so.
Are there questions on this? So, look for a motion for the additional appropriation of $1,000.
Vicki Kivett makes a motion that we appropriate $1,000 to the auditor document management from the plat book fund.
Kim Meredith will second. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
How near completion are they on the scan project, Dan?
We're probably halfway through the scanning of the records, so it's coming along. They got a bit slower start than I would have liked, but now that they have started, we're
Moving along pretty good.
moving along.
Okay, next up on our agenda is the EMS additional appropriation for $270,800.
Good evening.
Good evening. So, unfortunately, here for additional appropriations. Obviously, there were some of the line items in the budget that fell short, even before all the inflation happened, all that stuff. And with Dan, we kind of adjusted and went through things and worked on all that, getting everything squared away. And with everything that the expenses were through the year so far, we took that and we looked and projected out exactly what we're going to have for the rest of the year. And with these different items, especially like the supplies and the gas and the oil and obviously all those things with inflation, that's where we're gotten hit, and they just wasn't planned for those kinds of increases, which is why we are where we are with these numbers. So,
Can you speak to the interlocal agreement? Was that not budgeted appropriately for
It
20?
was, that agreement was entered into after the budget for this year was set,
Okay,
so it wasn't included in the budget. And
okay.
So John and Ben and I, and we met, and as John just mentioned, that we looked at what the balances are and what the projected expenses for the year would be, and I took that information and came up with these amounts. There are some other accounts that are gonna be short, but we're projecting that there'll be excess in some other accounts that can cover those.
Can cover those.
But these items were more than that we're gonna be able to cover with transfers, and so that's why the additional, and even with some of these, like the EMT full-time, or, for example, some of these, we won't need that much money for that specific purpose, but we'll need it for an account, associated account that we'll transfer to, but hopefully won't have to be back before year end. We're gonna take a look at it again here at the end of this month, first of next, see where we're at, and hopefully we won't have to be back, but.
well, to the best of our ability, we, again, tried to figure out with everything and the cost per month so far this year, we projected exactly what the monthly costs were, and that's how we're using these numbers to say that we'll need this through the end of the year. I mean, if we do a whole bunch of runs less than what we've been doing, if, obviously, then that cuts down on fuel costs, that cuts down on supplies and all that stuff, so.
Does any of this cost associated here going to perhaps give you an inventory tracking system at all? I know that had been tried and failed with the system.
We are working on that, hopefully not having to get an additional appropriation for that. And yet, we're trying to get a system in place. We talked to that company that originally that we had entered into with, and then when it was just horrendous and just wouldn't work for us and was very cumbersome and very slow, and we just it didn't work. So we are trying a couple other things to lay out, and if nothing else, we're going to go to literally an Excel spreadsheet and lay it all out that way. So that, again, Excel spreadsheet ain't gonna cost us anything. It's just gonna take some time and effort putting that together.
Is there anything in place today to track supplies? I mean, when someone goes off shift and they look to see what needs in there, is there any way they're tracking that?
Everything is in a room, and so then it is pulled out of that room. So the tracking, yes, there is a tracking mechanism. Is it laid out perfectly? No, because again, we were trying to do that, and it's done manually by the fact that only the EDOs have the key to that room to be able to pull those supplies out, so we know exactly what is leaving there and which truck it's going to because of whatever runs. So whenever there's cardiac arrest, an overdose, or any of those kinds of runs, a person with shortness of breath where we use those supplies, then that EDO goes in there and pulls those supplies out. So we're able to track them that way, the fact that they're locked in a room and not just everybody can go grab those.
Good. That's good to know.
But you keep the buses stocked with certain supplies all the time, right?
Yes, we have a minimum of what's supposed to be on the ambulances,
So-
and
If you go out on a run and you come in, do you do a sheet or documentation
it
on
is
what was
documented
used on
in the
that
run.
run?
It is documented in the run of the stuff that we use.
Okay. I think that's what everybody's uneasy
Right.
about.
I understand, and I'm trying to get my feet under me. I'm trying to get this all squared away for you, so,
We appreciate that.
We have confidence.
okay.
And don't ever feel afraid to approach us.
Yes.
We're human, just like you.
Vicky vibes.
Okay, yeah, I'm standing out here in the hot spot. Yeah, okay, whatever. It's all good.
Confidence green.
I've been told no before, so it's all good.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions or comments? I look for a motion.
Melissa Green will make a motion to appropriate $270,800 for emergency medical services as needed, as defined.
Yes. And that's from the general fund.
Oh, from the general.
No?
No, it's
Where'd
from
you
the
have it?
EMS
EMS
fund.
fund, what am I thinking? Well, it's
up
up
here,
here,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Vicki had me confused. We have a motion.
Kelly O'Connell, second.
We have a motion by Melissa Green, a second by Kelly Acala. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
That wraps up the additional appropriations. We're going to move into appropriation transfers, weights and measures. Josh, you want to present that to us?
And Kim, I don't know if you ended up getting that
Didn't get that.
screenshot. Scotty emailed today and he had an engagement, he was not able to be here. But this is a result out of, our building project that we have next door and the garage that you no longer see. That's where Scotty kept his weights and measures vehicle. Within his existing budget, he was able to find the money to get a canopy, like a steel canopy. We're gonna put it at the dispatch and EMA area so that it's enclosed, it's protected. We don't want people messing with those instruments, but we needed to find a new location and we wanted to cover the vehicle to keep it out of the elements. So that's what the request is for. We're able to fund it within its existing budget, and we just asked for your approval to transfer.
Right, it's been presented to us to take it out of $2,199.12 from equipment rental, $1,100 from equipment, and move it for a total of $3,299.12 to garage carport. If it were an additional appropriation, we normally require the department head to be here and present, but since this is a transfer, I don't have issue with it. Does anyone else?
I have no issue, and I commend them for being able to transfer it.
Yes, we're
I
happy
like
for that.
transfers. I love transfers. The most.
Back here at the modular home, right?
Yep. And I believe they've got 3 sides to it, I think.
A little more coverage for the protection.
Okay.
Okay.
No problem.
All right, you want to make a motion?
Vicky Kivett makes a motion that we approve $3299.12 from the general fund into weights and measures.
Troy Sprinkle, second.
We have a motion by Vicki Kivett, a second by Troy Sprinkle. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got other business to deal with this evening. Looks like next up is Deckers Outdoor Corporation personal property tax abatement.
No, the
No?
election,
What?
the election, right here.
Did you change my, I've got my old agenda.
Did you print this?
They changed my
This was
agenda
an
on me.
addition. It was printed over there.
Right here.
Okay, I apologize. I had mine that was emailed to me. I didn't get to grab a new one. All right, so we have election, another transfer from equipment to postage. Madam Clerk?
Hello, everyone. I was not involved in the budget, unfortunately, for this year. But we are needing postage, and we just want to do a transfer from equipment to postage. That's it.
Not a problem.
How much is it, Kim? I didn't get a copy
Oh,
either.
You didn't get it either? I don't feel so bad.
3,000.
3,000.
Since I love transfers, I'll make a motion to approve $3,000 to be transferred from equipment to postage for the election office.
Jason Maxwell seconds.
We have a motion by Kelly O'Callaghan, a second by Jason Maxwell. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. I got your what? I'm writing on your crayon. I'll share Vicky's. I'm good now, I think. Okay, great. Do we need Mike to give anything on it, or are we good? Mike, is Mike here? Mike, did you want to kind of go over things or introduce anyone?
Josh has $400,000 of that ARPA money left, and I want it. No,
So do
Don't we all?
I heard that.
Let me tell you.
Line forms back here, Dellinger.
Wow. I got my eye on that guy.
How's that for being mean green?
Council members, this evening we're working on a confirmatory resolution, which would be a public hearing for Decker's Outdoor Group, which, to refresh your memories, earlier this year, we had a tax abatement on a spec building in West Point Business Park, Building 5. That building, as we know from the declaratory resolution a couple months ago, back in August, we had Decker's came in, we did the declaratory resolution on a $50 million project for personal property to complement the $55 million 750,000 square foot spec building. This evening we have Suzanne Mills from EY, which is a tax consulting firm for Decker's, and also Marcia Baker with Decker's. The lineup changed for us a little bit. I was excited to learn this evening that Marcia is a neighbor of ours here in Morgan County. And Suzanne is out of Chicago, but she also has an Indiana background. I think that some of you might know a gentleman named Fred Mills.
Yes.
Who once was with IPL AES. He's Suzanne's aunt, or uncle, excuse me. So
Okay.
we have some background there, and also just to confirm that, because I know she'd want you to know, her grandfather was a leading state senator back in his day, Morris Mills,
Do you know
who
Morris?
helped with Marion County developing the southwest side of the community, did great things there with the Ameriplex, and a number of tremendous things when he was in the state senate as a leader in Indiana as a budgetary process. So
That's great.
we have good bones with us this evening, and I'd like to introduce them,
Yes,
Suzanne Mills
please do.
and Marcia Baker. So we know we have to comment in public hearing, but certainly EDC hopes that you'll provide the support that we need for this personal property tax abatement this evening on the confirmatory resolution. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Right, we will. We will. We just wanted to meet the ladies.
So are you related through the Mills side or Jenny's side of the family?
What was that? I'm sorry.
Are you related through the Mills side or?
The Mills side, my father is Fred's oldest brother.
Okay,
So,
great family.
Yes.
yes, it is.
They've done a lot in this county, that is for sure.
So,
And you have roots here too, folks?
Secondary Road at Henderson Ford.
Okay.
Very nice.
So it's good to see a city council meeting of my town. But,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, we'll keep you there for a second in case there are questions that maybe folks have and you can answer for us. This is the public hearing on the confirmatory resolution, scheduled for this evening at 6:30. And we'll open this up for any persons that have interest to be heard, including any remonstrances and objections from any interested persons. And the public will be allowed to give oral and written comments. So we will open this up as the public hearing for this evening. Do we have anyone that would like to comment or any questions they have for these ladies? Anything you'd want to present in writing that you would want to present? Okay, does the council have any questions for these ladies? All right. I don't think we have anything else this evening.
well, we appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're going to move along this evening. We've closed out that portion of it. We are going to open it up for the public hearing for a couple of other things. We've got the Harrison Township Fire District, the Monroe Township Fire District,
Kim,
and then the Morgan
I
County.
think we have to take a vote. I think
it's
this
just
needs a
public
vote.
hearing this evening.
Dellinger.
I thought it was just the hearings.
I
thought,
Abatement?
Don't we?
we
To
do?
approve.
Oh, I thought it was a second reading. I apologize. Here, I thought I was doing it right, folks. Okay. All right, we are to take a vote on the tax abatement this evening then. For Deckers Outdoor Corporation personal property tax abatement.
Kelly O'Connell will make a motion to approve the tax abatement as presented.
We have a motion. Kim Meredith will second that motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion for the tax abatement carries at 7-0. Keep bringing them to me. I'll get it right sometime. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to have these we're going to go out of our regular meeting in motion to go into the public hearing for each one of these and back out. So we're going to do a little in and out here. So we're going to start with Harrison Township Fire District. I look for a motion to not adjourn, but recess the regular council meeting and move into the public hearing from Harrison Township Fire Department. Do I have a motion?
Jason Max will make that motion.
Thank you, Jason. Kim Meredith will second. We now open up the public hearing. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Vicki Kivett makes that motion?
Kim Meredith will second. And do we all have Harrison Township's budget in front of us? We got so many here. Let's see. Yeah, I've got Harrison should be the first one you've got. So do we have anyone here with questions, comments, anything for the Harrison Township budget? Is there anything that Harrison Township wanted to bring to our attention from your budget that we need to be specifically aware of? Is there representation here tonight for Harrison?
I think so.
Don't think we have that. Okay. So I'll ask again, is there any comments or questions? Okay, hearing none, we will close the public hearing for Harrison Township. Can I get a motion to close that hearing?
Vicki Kivett makes that motion?
Troy Sprinkle, second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries 7-0 to close the public hearing for Harrison Township. Next up, we have Monroe Township Fire District. I look for a motion to open the public hearing for Monroe Township Fire District.
Kelly O'Connell will make a motion.
Vicki Kivett seconds?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor to open the public hearing for Monroe Township? Aye. Motion carries 7-0. And everyone's had a chance to review Township.
He's passing you out some so you have it in front of you.
Thank you. That's all right, we'll share it. We're good to share. Why don't you gentlemen introduce yourselves to us this evening so everyone knows who's here in representation of the Monrovia area.
Evening, Council. My name's Mike Wagner. I'm the chairman of the board for the Monroe Township Fire District. This is Chief Mills.
Thank you for being here, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Is there anything you need to present prior to us opening this up for public hearing?
Not really. You have our budget in front of us. It's pretty much the numbers we're able to work with. We would just like to, since we're before you, we would like to reiterate that we would really like for you guys to look over the safety light money again. That $20,000 we apply for every year that we haven't got for the past 4 or 5 years would really be a help with the added extra costs we've got this year with fuel and everything else going up. Plus, I'm sure you guys have heard it on TV or whatever. We've been sued in litigation from Walmart in the fire that was at Plainfield because we assisted in that fire. So we have a $5 million lawsuit against us right now that we're going through on that. So we're going to have added cost. We don't know how much at this time because it's just in the very beginning of it, but added cost in this litigation to figure out about this fire. So
What's
just
their
wanted to pass
basis
that on
for
to you.
that? What's their claim?
It's I think they're just knocking on every door they can to see if they can recoup any money, to be honest with you. But I think it's pretty sad that a big company that size would enter into lawsuits against 24 fire departments in the area. So it needs to be.
It's everyone that responded, right? Their
Everyone
name.
that responded to the scene.
we did respond to the scene, so
I
everybody.
know
was fine.
Martinsville
Mhm.
is named in that also.
Yes.
You're trying to save them and they turn around and sue you.
Your insurance will pick up that litigation cost.
Yes, we hope so, but still in the long run, it's, our insurance costs going up, it's going to cost the taxpayer.
Potentially, yeah.
They're
Sad,
losing
sad but true,
premiums.
yeah.
I'll let Chris speak to you. He may have some thoughts to speak to you if he does.
Yeah, all we sent was a tanker, but they're gonna sue us over that. I mean, we sent water supply.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah. And, you
sad.
know, and we had a lot of diesel fuel that we used in that, and so. But to speak on top of what Mike's saying too, we have a lot of extra added expense coming up. We got 20 sets of fire gear that expire in October next year. And we've got all these big warehouses heading our way. And another neighborhood that's coming in right across from Homestead, it's gonna be another 260 homes. And we're still not fully staffed 24/7. We're still volunteer every night from 5 to 10, so we still got a lot of growing to do.
Yeah, your area is growing fast.
Yes,
So
yes. I'm afraid we're behind the 8 ball at this point, honestly,
you're 100% volunteer?
from 5 to 10 every night.
Paid standby otherwise, just two people paid standby. Not a full crew, just 2 people.
And you're not a career department, correct?
No.
So no perf, no firefighters, 77, yeah.
You can go to McDonald's and make more an hour than we pay.
Yeah.
And guys, share 20 sets of gear, correct? And the expense per set is $60,000.
And then, yeah.
By next October.
I'm not on that ARPA committee, but I would sure would like to see some money slung to these local fire departments.
Behind it
That brought up.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's something we may be able to take to the committee and ask for that. As for the 20,000, I know, I hate to be a broken record, but you guys know how that kind of went to the wayside when the EMS department came on, and then you're kind of seeing here that even that's not enough to fund our EMS. So it's, we kind of went to putting that towards the county-wide service instead of individualizing it to the individual fire departments. And I realize some of you really relied on that extra 20,000 that came out each year. And so if we could, this windfall, so to speak, from the federal government, maybe we can look for that to help. Won't help forever, but it could maybe help in some of these instances. So I think that's something that we'll try to look at.
Well, if you think about that, so we're housing that county ambulance in our firehouse.
Yes.
We get $4,700 a year for that, which equates to about $18 a day. That's not much.
Yeah, and we're working on finding locations for all those so that there's not that continued cost
They're
to
staying
you,
alone.
or, because you're right, it's probably not enough to cover everything. But yours does provide a wonderful location where some of the others are not so wonderful. And so that'll probably work as needed as those come up, so, but we do appreciate that. You've got a wonderful station there.
A year or two ago, you guys submitted a wonderful 5-year plan. How are you doing on that?
We're gaining on it, but it's all, unless the money comes through, it's not gonna be, it's not gonna make it. But, we're doing pretty decent on getting enough new firemen staffed, and from what I'm seeing, Chris is doing a wonderful job, keeping everything rolling, but it takes dollars.
Yeah.
Do you do any fundraisers in the community there throughout the year? Do you take part in the festival, or there's any part of the fundraising?
We just started doing that again this year.
Because you've got some great people out there in that community that are very giving, and I just wondered if you were taking part in any of that.
That's the fish fry, right?
The Monrovia Festival.
Monrovia
But
Festival.
do you have the fish fry booth?
We do, the fire department does not do that anymore,
So what do you do there? What do you do for fundraising?
So this year, we actually tried something new. We did strawberry shortcakes and silent auction.
So
It was kind of
food.
a trial. We did make some money at it.
Good.
We made probably just under $5,000.
Well, hey, every little bit helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever
that's
do
great.
a mail out asking for donations?
Well, we got to, as sitting on the board, I don't feel that is something we need to do since they're paying a tax rate. We are a line item, a government entity, and they do pay a tax rate. Although I think we ought to beg them that way since they are a tax rate. That's my personal feeling, and I think the feeling of the board right now.
But those fundraisers are fun. I mean, as kids, some of our best times were spent at the fish fries, with the dunk tank and
It's a
stuff.
lot of work though, isn't it?
It is.
It's a lot of work.
All right, well, do we have any questions, any comments from the public in regard to the Monroe Township Fire District's budget for 2023?
I know for me, these guys are in my district, and thank you for all you do. I drive by them every day, and they're out there doing something, working their tails off. I've known this guy a long time, and I'm sure I'll get to know Chris, but I'm telling you, class people, thank you.
You are
So
appreciated.
protected because of you guys.
So is that your motion?
Sure.
I don't think we have to make a motion.
No
There's
motion.
No, but does the council have any questions for these gentlemen? All right.
Thank you.
Hearing no other questions, I look for a motion to close the public hearing for Monroe Township Fire District.
Troy Sprinkle, make that motion.
Thank you, Troy. Do we have a second?
Kelly Acala will second.
Do we have a motion by Troy Sprinkles, second by Kelly Acala? All in favor to close the public hearing?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0 to close. Thank you. Next up is the Morgan County budget. So, who's taking the questions on that one? Us? So, you do? So we're good.
A running total, how many hours have been put into this budget?
A lot.
Oh, my God.
For a lot.
It's
How many
insane.
hours in that budget? Because there was one night we went to.
Kelly Acala will make a motion to open the public hearing for the Morgan County budget.
And a second to open the public hearing for the Morgan County budget. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The budget hearing is open. Do we have anyone that has questions or comments in regard to the 2023 budget?
I see none.
And I look for a motion to close the public hearing for the Morgan County budget.
Vicky Kivett makes that motion.
Meredith will second. Public hearing is now closed. We will resume the regular monthly meeting. Oh, okay. All right. So next on our agenda is the county treasurer's earned interest report, and I'm going to hand down a sheet that has information on this report. Barry?
Good evening. How are you guys doing
We're
this evening?
good.
Good.
So tell us about your report.
Well, Josh came to me, Josh and Dan, and said that they thought it might be good for you guys to see how much interest is earned quarterly. The problem is with quarterly is we won't get September's bank statements until the middle of October. So right now, you're just seeing through August.
Okay.
And that's First Merchants and Homes Bank, and then per month, so then you got your total investments per month, and then all the way on the edge is the
The
total,
totals
all the way-
per
yes.
financial institution?
Yes.
You know how this compares to this time last year?
No, I don't.
Probably about the same.
Probably not very well. This is,
About the same.
yeah, maybe so.
Saving dinner, or, you know.
You know, Tara, are these funds held in like adjustable rate? Are they in CDs, like since rates have
No.
gone up, you know?
No, this is just what is in our account, our checking accounts, our two checking accounts.
Not on any investments?
No,
Oh,
no
okay.
investments.
Okay.
Okay. So do you know what rate it is right now roughly?
Home Bank is at 0.40, and I'm sorry, I don't know what First Merchants, it's lower,
It's lower than that?
yeah. I want to say 0.35, but I'm not 100% sure.
Do you ever shop those rates to see if it would be in
No, I have
the-
not, no.
That might be something you want to look into, to see if there's, I know there's not much that are out there paying much.
On a liquid account, that's about,
Yeah, I mean, that's,
I would say that's about,
Is that about as good as it's
That's-
getting these
that's-
days?
not a, yeah, it's not a
No.
CD or something or bidding, it's,
Yeah,
that's
it's
just your
fully
checking
liquid.
account, yeah.
But when you invest CDs, you do call around, don't you, for the best rates at the time of investment? I have not had to do that. I've not been asked to do that. I've not got with the commissioners. I think at one time, Dan and I talked about it, but we didn't go any further than that.
So we don't keep any money on any CDs or any investments, everything is liquid?
Sweep accounts.
Right.
They're sweep accounts, and the CD investing is kind of a old school
Okay.
this day and age. But it was a few years ago when that was put out for an RFP. First Merchants they were far and above the best offer of any. Probably would be a good idea to do that here again next year, so. But they're sweep accounts.
Okay.
But you might put that on your calendar, maybe the first of the year, kind of check that to see if a little bit could help, you know. Any other questions in regard to this? We thank you for the information. It's been a while since we've seen this report.
I did not know that you guys were, prior to me coming into office, that you guys were getting this report, or I would have.
Yeah, and Julie used to give it to us, didn't she?
No, not this report. There's an annual report that it's statutorily required, the annual report that's given to the commissioners and shared with the council.
Okay. All right, thank you, Terry. We appreciate that.
But this money will always, I mean, it's not in the general fund, it's in her, invested under the treasurer's name,
It's the sum total of all the funds.
through the treasurer's office.
You're right. It's all the money that the county has.
Right. It's the interest
it's not
earned on those
segregated
accounts.
Right.
Right.
By funds.
Right.
And it is allocated between the general fund and other funds. The interest earned is, but, no, it's just all the money that's, on deposit that's invested. I mean, it earns interest every day and every hour, and it's swept every night, and then
Comes back in.
Yeah.
in the morning.
Yeah.
To let the record show that that amount is $243,816.88 through August 2022. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we're under other business this evening, and it looks like our engineer is moving this way.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, council.
Good
Thank
evening.
you very much. We had put in a transfer letter for this meeting. Then, after the deadline for an additional appropriation ask, in consultation with the auditor, he said that we need to come back for an additional appropriation. I'm not asking for the additional appropriation right now. I'm asking for permission, and let me explain. 2 years ago, in our transfer agreement with INDOT, we were given $250,000 specifically for brine system and brine system equipment for winterization. It's our money. It's been allocated just for that in the MVH fund. We had some, we never really allocated the money this year because we wanted to wait till we got a new highway department or some location where we could put a brine system housing. And until then, we thought that it was kind of a useless point to build something that we couldn't build on the highway system or the highway grounds and that we'd have to tear down. Our shop foreman, Joe Foiler, has done a fantastic job. And he has found a way that we can buy some equipment that will retrofit with our vehicles now, our sprayers, our tanks, and a brine system mixer that we can utilize on the highway grounds. What I would ask for is permission to start the process to order the equipment so we can get it in this winter and then go through the additional appropriation process. This is for auditing purposes that we want brine system equipment spent from this $250,000 that we didn't allocate because we didn't have a place to put this. So it's already money that's already been there for us in our account only for this specific account. So again, not asking for the additional appropriation. We couldn't get it in time to advertise for this. But we will do that for this time. 45,000-ish? 40 to 45,000 additional of the 250 for tanks that we can start utilizing the brine system this year. We just want to start getting ahead of the game.
So,
Yes, this is all stuff that will not just be temporary and thrown out. This will all be stuff, that's why I'm saying it was a,
That's going to replace the other option that we had.
well, it's going to supplement. You can't use brine everywhere in the county, but overall, the brine system, what it does, it's an earlier applicant. You can put it on there for up to 24 hours.
The little lines I see on the highway?
Partly, yeah. So it's more of a, this is a salt-water mix. When you actually develop the whole system, you can get like the heat stuff that you kind of put in. There's some other additives that you can put in with the brine system that'll help. But it's essentially a 24-hour pre-application so that when you see a storm coming, you can get out and hit more roads in certain areas. Not so much in the hills. Some of the places where the drifts, it can work very well though. Where you can put stuff down and then the drifts, it kind of hits that and it'll dissipate. So the brine will supplement the salt and sand mix that we currently use. So the future of brine is that we will utilize less salt and sand, have lower fixed costs, and then also less overtime because guys can go out, hit something once, leave it alone for 8 to 12 hours as opposed to 4 to 6 hours they usually do. So we want to start using it this year. So what I'm asking for this time is permission to, let me put this out there. We have not done anything with this yet. We have not signed a contract. We haven't committed anything yet. We've done our homework to do this. We want to get permission to do this with the expectation the additional appropriation will come for that next council meeting. But we want to get this in, say, late December, January, as opposed to February.
And it's,
That's
good.
all.
The equipment itself would be housed within buildings
Yes.
that are already there?
Yes,
Because we can't.
there'll be tanks that we actually put in the back of the beds, and the applications, the sprayers will be attached to those tanks. So they're not actually, it's not a freestanding tank, it's not a building, it's not anything like that. So these are tanks that will actually be retrofitted onto what we currently have, our vehicles that we currently have for distribution on the roads.
But when they're not affixed to those, where are you keeping this equipment?
We have room in the garage.
You do have room?
Yeah, we'll
That's
have
what I'm
tanks.
asking, okay.
For the summer, spring, summer months, we'll have the area. Heck, we've got another bay over there right now at least
Okay.
that is usually just auction stuff.
Okay.
So yes, we have the room.
How many vehicles? How many of the
It
trucks
was
will you put it
4
on?
tanks and I think 3 sprayer applications. 4 and 4.
Okay on that, it's already in his budget. The 250,000's not?
No, it was in the year before, but it wasn't in this year's budget.
So it's gonna be a $250,000 additional appropriation next month?
Does that include installation and the equipment, or are you guys going to do the installation?
We'll do all the install and retrofitting that we need to do.
Did you say 45,000?
I believe it was, I think it's actually 41, but I want to say the expectation no more, shouldn't be any more than 45.
But I wanna clarify something. The 250,000 that you had is not in this budget, is not in your 2022 budget.
Correct,
It was
it is
taken
not.
out. So the 45,000 that you're going to be asking for next month will be an additional appropriation.
Yes.
I just want to be clear that
It will
it's-
be an additional appropriation from money that just hasn't, that is our money in the MVH fund specifically allocated for this from the state. Yes. and the-
Gotcha.
So no one else.
I
can
just
spend
want to
it.
be clear that the 250
Correct.
was
Yes.
not in
Yes.
there.
But the auditor brought up, for auditing purposes, they want to be able to say that 250, here's the line items that we spent for equipment.
Gotcha.
For all
I'm clear.
Do you know how many miles of road you would be able to treat preemptively with 4 trucks?
I want to get going first before I can tell you exactly what we need
Just
to do.
curious.
Honestly, this is a real trial and error year.
Sure.
This is really going to be
It's new.
a good, yeah.
Okay, so one more clarification. The 250 is not in the budget. There's an additional 41, correct? So it'll be an addition.
It'll be that 41,000 out of that $250,000 set aside for us and allocated for that.
And next year, you're gonna spend some more of that 250,000, or?
Depending on exactly how this works, we may. It is not, again, because of the way, we're really waiting for the big system. But if this equipment is up and working well, we'll continue with this equipment, probably this equipment only, until we can house something bigger. Because we do expect it to be about $200,000 to actually build the brine system housing that they want and the whole, it'll be a hopper load, it'll be a quicker, more efficient load when you do it, once you mix it, and it'll be a higher density mix.
So you
once you can build
anticipate coming for an additional appropriation for 45,000
Next month.
Next month.
Yes.
But you anticipate that to cover the cost of 4 trucks, to install this on 4 trucks?
Yes.
It's not per truck, it's one, all
It is
total
one
for 4
total.
trucks? Okay.
Correct. And then we'll still have $200,000+ left.
Would you have utilized this year?
And it'll be to be utilized this year. Yes, this snow season. That's why I want to do this now.
Anticipate in future years to want to add this equipment to more trucks than that, or do you think that's it?
We don't know. Again, it's one of those that we really want to get and see what these 4 trucks do. It could be that this is going to cover us for a while. It could be that we do want to get 7 to 8. And again, we'll come back and we'll utilize that exact line item specifically for this equipment.
So you're thinking it's roughly a little over 11,000 to outfit a truck?
Roughly.
Okay.
Just
Thoughts?
asking permission again.
Right.
You can always come back and ask additional appropriation. Doesn't mean we approve it.
That's fair. Absolutely fair.
So,
For the heads up.
yes,
And
yes.
for coming up with a solution that, I mean, we need a solution.
Again, I give complete credit to this to our shop manager, who's been, he's been a godsend. He's really been a very diligent worker, working for what's best for the county.
We appreciate you coming before.
Public speaker, but anyways, this is gonna utilize the road salt that we already use, okay? So literally, this is just a piece of, oh, I'm
Come on
sorry.
over.
This is just a piece of equipment that puts the right consistencies together, all right? So if there's not too much salt or not, too little water or whatever, and so.
I
this-
think they're going by right now.
Yeah. Yeah, so, this is a step, but this is a beginning step. It's kind of a learning curve, we've met with other counties that are doing it, and, they've turned us on and got us pointed in the right direction, but again, this is, baby steps for us, we gotta see if it's gonna work, because again, our train in our county has it all. I mean, so, we're gonna go with it and see what happens.
Okay.
If you guys are okay with it.
I think we're okay with it. Is everyone okay with that?
We have to do something.
It's okay with ask.
Yeah. Yep. All right.
So we'll see you next month.
See you next month.
For sure.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you,
I
gentlemen.
like your shirt too.
Details.
Demonstration.
All right.
Some of the
I think
AIC.
Dan Baston has something else under other business this
Yeah,
evening.
under other business, you all have a folder that I
Yeah.
left you that
Mhm.
has the budgets printed out with
Oh,
both
thank
the
you.
published amounts and then what, after your last meeting, when you approved the raises of 3% plus $500, and then the $2,500 for the public safety employees. Those have been calculated and are included in those budget line items. And then also the budgetary financial statement, I've included that for you to look at. We put this all, I put this all together, and then now we are reviewing it to make sure that there aren't any errors or
Appreciate that.
problems. And so when your October 19th meeting, if we find something, I'll let you know if something needs to be adjusted. But, if you don't see anything else that you want to change or from what you've approved previously, then the amounts that are in the adopted budget column is the amount that you would approve for the adopted budget. The one, and I guess that's about all I have to say.
I just wanted to go over our dates again for our special meeting is October 25th at 5 PM. Did everyone have that down? And then what did we change our November?
October 19th.
Oh, 19th, I'm sorry.
October 19th.
Is the budget adoption at 6:30? Yes, I'm sorry.
And that'll be the budget adoption meeting for both, for the county, the Monroe Township Fire, and the Harrison Township Fire District. All three of those budget adoptions will be that night. And
That's October 19th at 6:30, but then we have, we had another meeting on October 25th non-budget related, and it's at 5 PM. So I just want to make sure, we got a lot of dates there, and I just want to make sure. And then we changed our November meeting to the 9th?
Yes.
To Wednesday, November 9th, due to the election being set up on the 7th. So November 9th, and that one is normally, or is regular time at 6:30. All right, is there anything else that needs to come before the council? Doree, did you have something? Yes, ma'am. Oh.
I just wanted to tell you a little bit, I was sitting there thinking I probably should have sent a little more information ahead. So I'll just tell you what's coming, and then the next meeting we'll look at it. The auditor's office has gone through all of their job descriptions, and they have updated their job descriptions, and those have gone to WIS, and they were approved tonight by the Job Maintenance Committee. We also have, you allowed the auditor's office to have a new position for this coming year, 2022.
Oh, for this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that job description has also gone to the, to WIS and then to the Job Maintenance Committee, and it was approved. However, since then, Linda Pruitt and Terry Cleland and Dan have gotten together, and they have come up with a solution after the last meeting that you guys had for the budget. So they have come up with a solution that they think that you will hopefully like, that will work with the new position that the auditor's office has. So I'm gonna let Dan.
Right. So what the solution is that in this budget for this year, there was a new position approved, and it's in the salary ordinance, but it hasn't been filled yet in the auditor's office, and we had some kind of internal struggles with the job description and all with that, but that's been resolved now, and so we have a job description for that position, as well as updating job descriptions of other positions, because the new position does affect the other positions by moving duties from those and shuffling them around. And then Linda and Terry are working together because there's a need. The county overall has a need to try to reduce the number of positions that we have. And with the changes in the treasurer's office, there's an opportunity to do that. And the auditor and treasurer are proposing sharing a position where the new position in the auditor's office will be shared with the treasurer's office for about 12 weeks out of the year during the treasurer's busy time, and then that individual will be in the auditor's office the other weeks out of the year. So that's what the new idea is. The rate of pay will be the same in both offices. The amount of money they earn will be a little bit different in the fact that we work a longer hours daily than the treasurer, but that's being worked out also with the treasurer. And it just so happens that the person that's occupying the position in the treasurer's office has an interest in the new position in the auditor's office. And so that worked out to where then we can do that sharing, and
That's great,
so that's what our proposal is, and then as Lyndon mentioned earlier today, you know, there are changes happening in the auditor's office with the scanning of the transfer records, getting the records digitized, and so there's going to be less of a workload down the road, but not now. We're still working with the same processes we have had in place for years, but down the road, there could be some opportunities to have the auditor have work with sharing positions with another office down the road, and And the auditor's office is, here in the next few years, there are going to be probably about 3 different people that are going to be retiring in the auditor's office. So there's going to be some opportunities there. But to begin the process, we're wanting to share, or proposing to share any position with the treasurer.
That's great.
I want to applaud them.
Yes,
I told them in
literally.
committee meeting, but
We appreciate
this was a
that.
big factor that we talked about at budget time, budget session a week or two ago about offices, job sharing, low and high peak times in different offices, cross-training, and I applaud the auditor and treasurer for
Yes,
initiating this process.
and Linda. Yeah, that's great.
Encourage other departments to follow the
Look at
example.
those, yeah,
Absolutely.
those options, because they're there. All right, if there's nothing else, I look for a motion to adjourn.
Wait,
Oh,
wait,
Dave
wait.
Rogers has got something.
We're so close.
And Keith had to leave.
We can
so
go
you-
over your budget again.
That's actually what I wanted to thank you guys
That's why
for.
he's here.
So, obviously, I realize budget time is a tough time for everyone. This council and every other council before does not get enough thanks for the time and effort put forth in that. Obviously, we always don't get what we ask for, but that's part of this process. So I just wanted you guys to know that me and my staff in the sheriff's office, we do appreciate, and I'm sure most of the other county employees appreciate the work you do put into that, and you've always been as fair as possible throughout the years as well. So anyways, I
We
want to
appreciate
thank you
that,
for
Dave.
that. You don't get enough thank you for what you do. Commissioners are probably right behind you on that thank you thing. They don't get the thanks that they really deserve. Maybe, yeah, Don doesn't get enough. But anyways, I do thank you for what you do, so. Absolutely.
Mr. Treasurer, no.
In the spirit of saving money and cutting jobs, I have volunteered to cut the other 2 commissioners. I haven't ran it by them yet.
And I'm sure some days they would welcome that, Mr. Collier. I do want to report that about a dozen of us went to AIC. South Bend was a wonderful host county. The accommodations were wonderful and convenient. Some of you had quite the time up there, and others of us retired to our rooms earlier. But one roundtable that I enjoyed hearing about was nonprofits helping in the community, and a representative from Cook was there and told how they have went in and around the Orange County area, French Lick area, and took emptied lots from wore down homes and built new homes, provided some affordable housing. I welcome the day that we have a company in our area that can do that, but just another feather in the hat for Cook, and they gave some good ideas on how to partner and provide housing for your employees that need to work and stay in this community. And I hope that we can pick up on some of those hints, even though we don't have a Cook in our backyard, but
Wish we did.
it was interesting. Kelly's a good driver. And what do you want to add?
It was a good conference. I think a lot of the cost-saving measures, I think they looked at a couple different things. I'm happy that Morgan County is already participating with Apex Benefits, which was a big proponent in that to try to save benefits, and we are already doing that, so I think that's great.
Ladies?
Talked to the brine people at their booth, talked about brine a little bit.
That's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah. Ask me questions.
How'd that go?
It was a melting experience.
All right, there's some signature documents coming down, so don't take off before those are all signed. And I look for a motion to adjourn. We have a motion by Chip Keller, Melissa Green seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.